Hello, this is Caritza and I'm gonna be talking about some of the props I've been able to do for some of my cosplay. Since I can't really sew, most of the things I do from scratch entirely for my cosplays are my props. My brother was supposed to be making this video with me, but you know, he's a social butterfly, he's always busy. I'm not. I'm gonna start with the first things I've done. For example, ignore the creepy head. But I did this bow. I just have a red band. I already had a headband. It's a very thin one, so it's not very useful for anything else. Inside of this, I put some foamy. You're gonna hear me say foamy a lot. Inside of the fabric, I have some foamy to make it look stiff and the particular shape I wanted. So basically, I just wear this like this, and sometimes tilt it to the side, it depends. The next thing I ever did was Gigi. Now Gigi is just felt, basically. It's felt and cotton for the filling, the insides of Gigi. And also, it was very hard to keep him, you know, stiff or straight, you know, like it was sitting, because it's just felt and it's very bendy, it bends. So I just inserted, what's it called? Just a stick used for roasting marshmallows or barbecues, whatever. I just inserted a stick and it's right through the middle of Gigi, so there's no way like he could be like sleeping. His head would be like, but it's not, so yeah. Same with the tail. Also a stick in there to make it stay straight. This next prop I made happens to be a copy or a remake because we were babysitting this dog one time and he found my props unattended. I wasn't home and he destroyed Kiki's radio. So I had to remake it, but it didn't turn out as good as the first time because I was just going to do the cosplay again and I had forgotten I didn't have the radio, so I had to make it again and it looks very crappy, but I'm still gonna show you. So this is the replacement for the radio I had done first. The first radio, I even had the switch thingies to the top and it was a little bit smaller. I would say a lot more realistic. I think this is a cardboard box I already had and I used foamy again in the red color and drew over it and just pasted some random paper I decided to draw on because I had no time when I was making this. So this is just a normal red ribbon I probably had lying around, and this is gonna sound funny, but it's the best way I figured this would work. It's a hair tie. This black thing, it's a hair tie, so whenever I wanted to fasten it to my broom, it would stay in there. The next prop I made was a star rod for my Kirby cosplay, which was a very simple cosplay because I just wore a pink dress and I made this mask that I would wear over my head because as soon as I tried putting it on, it would mess up my wig. I mean, in that moment it was my hair. I had dyed pink hair, but now I use the wig, so it would mess my hair up, and you know, I just placed it on top of my head. This is the star rod I made for Kirby. This is just a normal PVC tube I bought at Home Depot. This is basically the ribbon I used also for that radio, but I used it first here because that was the remake. So, and this is just cardboard on the inside. It was paint to make it look this thick because I was just placing cardboard over cardboard over cardboard until I had the thickness I wanted, which was the thickness that could withstand the PVC tube. Now, after I finished making the shape for the star, I had to make it look like it was a full solid star. These sides are made entirely out of cardboard. I just had a long ribbon of cardboard and I cut seams to the sides so it would stick to this and this, both of the sides of the cardboard, so it would make like a solid look for the star. How did I manage to get it there? That was another struggle. Since it's not entirely solid on the inside, it's somehow hollow, I just made sure that I would leave enough space for the PVC tube to go in, and then I inserted it. I would be gluing it also, so they would have to touch the PVC tube but not restrain it from going in. So it was kind of annoying, but it worked. It's sturdy. Yay! The next thing I made was a headache because I wanted it to look so real, or at least very legit accurate. I was planning on buying a cell phone for Gasai Yuno's cell phone from Mirai Nigi. It was very painful. So I spent a lot of time looking in eBay, looking for cell phones that would look similar to the shape because I could just paint it, right? And that it would be like simple enough without many designs or whatever that would make the cell phone look different. But I was unsuccessful. I couldn't find any that were cheap enough for me to destroy or change or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna spend more than $5 on something I'm gonna change, right? I mean, not in my case. So I had this foam board that I had bought from Office Max for an art project I had to do, and I had some leftovers. So the body, the base, is foam board, and the rest is just my figuring out how the hell I was gonna do this. So I covered the foam board with colored paper. So this is just basically just folding like a book or whatever. These are just details. This is a black film. I don't know where you can get that. I just have it because of reasons. And the details inside, I mean, it's very like unprofessional and unfinished looking. But yeah, this is just paper and numbers and whatever. I was very pissed off because I had made like 2 of these. This is the second one, and the first one turned out to be the prototype because it didn't look nearly coherent for me. I was very upset, so I had to make a second one and make it look realistic enough. So yeah. Very dirty because I never sealed in the cell phone per se, so it's just paper. It's very dirty. I should probably just paint over it and seal it for good. Very lightweight. For the same cosplay I made the other prop. I mean, she had plenty of props. I think that's the character I've made most props for. I made her hatchet. This is the hatchet. This, again, the film, the black film. It's used for x-rays, and that's the film they use. This was just stick we had lying around, so I used it. I know it's not the shape of a real hatchet, but I don't think it matters because most people don't even point it out. They might notice, but they don't care. Neither do I, so I just used it. I didn't want to change the shape because it was so standard, and I sort of like that. This is just paint. It was sort of a paint to catch the shape here, but I just used cardboard as the base and just glued everything together and painted it black, blah blah blah. So yeah, that's my hatchet. Now, the biggest project I've ever had to do was probably the machine gun. This half-assed machine gun I had done for my black dress version of Gasai Yuno was an eternal project. So this has a lot of cardboard as base. Like, there's a lot of cardboard in here. It also has a lot of foamy for the stupid, most ridiculous looking details. I mean, they don't even look good. But you know, it's all black from far. It looks like a machine gun. I mean, you can say like, oh, I don't know what that is, but it looks like a machine gun, so whatever. A lot of people, you know, were trying to be extremely how do you say, knowledgeable about guns. I suspect most of them don't even have a license. But people like guns, and people like researching guns, and they would point out like, oh, this is wrong and this is wrong, and I'm like, you know what, I was just working with whatever I had. I didn't buy any materials for this. Everything was just things, scraps I had in my house from other stuff. I don't know. It's just tape, a lot of paint, a lot of foamy, a lot of hot glue. It's just scraps made into something. So I didn't waste. I didn't buy anything purposely for this prop. Everything was made entirely from scratch with the stuff I had laying around. Everything I think I have here done was with stuff I had already bought previously for other reasons, except for this one. This one I purposely bought the PVC tube because we sadly do not have these lying around, and I wasn't gonna use that. Like, we do have solid wooden sticks, but most conventions would not allow this thickness of a solid wooden stick to be brought in. It would be like a bat, and for some reason they don't like that. I mean, I'm not gonna hit anybody with my prop because it's probably gonna break and I'm gonna be very sad, but you know how they are. My brother has a keyblade that was made between him him, my mother, and me. It was the first prop we ever made, and it turned out to be the best of props that him, or my mother has ever made. I guess it was teamwork, and it worked very good. I'm gonna show you guys. Okay, so I'm back with my brother's keyblade. As you can see, most people like to make them, when they make them, most people like to make them like the ones that were being sold, the official ones, because, well, I guess they look more official, or, you know, legit. But since my brother is pretty tall, we wanted it to be big enough to make him look smaller in a sense. Like, if he had one of those keyblades that were the official ones, or looked like the official ones, this would be so much smaller. Also, the, you know, the key part of the blade would be super duper small, and I don't know, for some reason all of us agreed that it would look better this way because it looks a little bit more dramatic, or I don't know how to say it, just better in our opinion. It's very extremely sturdy. It's made with cardboard. Again, this is like multiple levels of cardboard here and here. This is a wooden, you know, broomstick. This is just electrical tape, paint. This is a chain we had from our gothic emo days or whatever. And we decided to just use it for the, you know, the Mickey Mouse. This is cardboard also. And yeah, it's pretty good, you know, keyblade. Last but not least, it was cheapest of the cheapest of probably the most funny and cheapest prop. It's already sort of broken and stuff because storing it is kind of a pain in the ass. It's Jack's Frost staff. Now, I found this PVC tube swimming in the depths of a river that's really near my house. So it's basically junk I found around, and my brother, since it's, you know, it's supposed to be like a wooden frozen staff, he decided to tape it all around with duct tape and then use paint to color in the wooden parts and the frozen parts. And for the details that we can no longer see because they have been, you know, destroyed with time and just extreme usage of this and bad storage, it had, okay, I think here we can appreciate a little bit more about the details and the frozen stick. And this is just regular hot glue. We tried to make the designs around. Well, he made this entirely. I said we would. After gluing all of the frozen bits and whatnot, he painted a little bit on gray on it, and it looked, when it was finished and unused and whatever, it was perfect. It was like, wow, it's like we probably just wasted like 3 sticks of glue and maybe half a roll of duct tape and a little wee bit of paint, because this was basically very easy. I mean, we made a prop out of junk. That's what we usually do. Last but not least is the silliest of props. It's not even worth showing, but you know, it might give you ideas or whatever. The last time I did Kiki, that was when I had to remake that freaking radio. I felt a little bit sad because the bag I used for the first time, the orange looking mustard bag, was broken. So I wanted another prop just to, you know, make it seem a little bit more, hey look, I did something other than wearing a black dress with a red bow. So I grabbed these sponges that are, I think they are the seating or furniture. They were just, again, lying around, and I decided I could use them, and I cut them up into a weird shape that would look like a bread. Added some paint to make it look a little bit toasted bread. That was basically it. So this time I'm gonna have to make Palutena's staff, and sadly I will have to buy every single material I'm gonna use for that one because most of the scraps I have fall very short for what Palutena's staff might need. Like, she has a lot of detail, and I will have to use, you know, as much as untouched and very good quality materials to make the staff, not just some scraps like we have been doing forever. Everything here except for the star rod was made from trash, scraps, stuff we had lying around. We made it work. It worked. If we had to patch something around because the material wasn't enough, we just made it all happen with tape, and that was it. So yeah, that's our props.